We've been seeing that at a lot of different places right now, as a matter of fact. Just this week, I was out on 2 different stops, one in Benton and actually one in Plain Dealing in the area. And there was a 13-and-a-half-foot gator that just wandered up behind the lady's house back there. And she only saw it because it had caught the attention of her small dog. So she ran down there to save the dog's life. And to her big surprise, there was a giant dinosaur down there just looking at her.
Now, you were telling me earlier when I was calling you to line up talking to you on the air that you got to have a special permit, a special license to take care of a gator, if you will.
Absolutely. You know, we get a lot of calls regarding this type of thing. Specifically in the Lakewood area subdivision, we've got numerous calls from those folks out there that every time those floodwaters come up, the bayous that are just on the outskirts of those neighborhoods, contain this wildlife. And whenever the water levels come up, they just simply swim the network of tunnels and, culverts that pass throughout the neighborhood. And then what happens when the water lines recede down, they get lost in that network, in the neighborhoods because they've been swimming those ditches. And once that water gets down, they can't find their way back out. And then usually that spurs folks to either call us or call Wildlife and Fisheries to see what can be done about that. But yes, you have to be a licensed trapper to legally go out and take care of alligator situations.
I hate to tell you, Chris, if a gator shows up on my farm, and I know you've been there before, that gator is going to get the bad end of my youth-size shotgun.
Hey, I have no doubt about that, or I have no doubt about your mom being willing to handling that. I've met her. She's a fantastic lady.
Oh, well, thank you. I got to tell you, one of the things that has been coming up, yes, we've been hearing the stories about gators. That is very unusual. But when floodwaters come, people are looking for higher ground, and, so are creatures. And we've been seeing a lot of snakes, a lot of ants.
Yes. As a matter of fact, normally we don't work weekends, but today I've been out all day dealing with a lot of these overflow calls that folks are having lots of ants inside of their house, whether it be fire ants or the sugar ants, which are Argentine ants. They do happen to show up in homes when those floodwaters come up. They're just like we are in a sense. They don't want to be out in the elements, so if there's a safe place for them to go, they're going to take it up. Now, that goes the exact same thing for the rodents. Whether it be, squirrels or rats or mice, they are definitely not looking to stay out in the elements either. So those calls have really come on, pretty strong in the last few days since the storms have moved in and the floodwaters have come up.
Talking to Chris Romano from Vexcon, what are some of the things that residents can do if their property is taking on water to help prevent, if you will, having some unwelcome visitors in their home?
Well, every situation is slightly different depending on the given property and, of course, the elevation of that property and so forth. But the main thing that really stands out, in our minds as pest control professionals is what cannot get into your house cannot affect you. So the most important thing to do is make sure your home is sealed all the way around, from the ground level up to the eaves and, other areas that may be exposed around the soffits, because it's amazing how fast a little rodent can scurry up the side of a brick home and pop right in a hole the size of a dime. And normally you'd think there's no way possible, but we see it happen on a weekly basis.
So roof rats, yay.
Yes. Yeah. The gutters are another big factor. If you don't have gutter guards covering those gutters, we actually see what happens a lot is the rodents will stand down inside the gutter, and then when the shingle comes off of the edge of the rooftop, they simply push up on that shingle with their head. And then a lot of homes, just because of the construction, there's small gaps in between the fascia board and the plywood that is subsurface of the shingle. So a lot of times that little gap is all they need to slip in and call that home theirs from that point forward. And then they can, any little spot that they can get their teeth around to start gnawing on, they will definitely widen that area out and make it more accommodating for the rest of the family to move in behind them.
Thousands of people have been displaced in our area due to these floodwaters. When they get past the stage we are in now and we're looking towards recovery, what are some of the things that they need to know about possible pest issues getting back into their homes?
Right. Well, again, it kind of goes back to the different areas. We see neighborhoods have more problems, let's just say, with bugs versus folks that live out, in the lake areas or near the bayous or stuff like that they have larger animal issues.
Well, let's take like a tall timbers where you have homes with water literally up to their eaves.
Yes, in a situation like that, it can be very tough, to prevent the moisture. If they're getting water up to their eaves, then it just calls for a bad situation all the way around. First of all, you got to wait. There's nothing that can be done immediately while the water level is that high. A lot of this prevention comes before the storm hits. The termites, as long as they have a moist atmosphere, they can thrive. The soil grade along the sides of homes, if it's up above, their foundation line, that can be a perfect environment for hidden termites to get in and start doing their thing. So there's just a whole host of issues that can come from these floodwaters. We try to be proactive on our customers as far as when we're out and we see problems here and there. We advise them, of what can be done and possible if it's possible for us to take care of that for them, we go ahead and do that to prevent these types of issues just in case something happens.
All right. Chris Romano from Vexcon. I have to laugh because earlier you were talking about the problems with gators in that Lakewood area, and that's where the area that you live in, Greg.
Yeah.
With 3 young boys who were probably like, Dad, it's a gator. You're just kind of shaking your head right now.
You know what? In all honesty, and I could be told that I'm wrong right here, but I would feel more comfortable seeing a gator than one of those snakes that are just coming angrily across the top of the water.
You're absolutely correct. And a lot of people have, that misconception about the alligator. In reality, the alligator is a lot more scared of us, than we are of it. And it's going to do everything to avoid confrontation or conflict with the human being. Now, every now and then you hear about those stories, that you hear about the man-eating alligator, but you got to understand, for as much interaction as man has with the alligator, if they were really dangerous towards us, like folks a lot of times think they are, we would be hearing a lot more of these types of attacks. But it's just simply not the case. The snakes are definitely more dangerous, and a lot of times you don't see the snake until you're right on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the alligator is a lot larger. You normally spot the thing from further away. And it has no venom in there that will kill you pretty quick.
Okay, quick, silly, stupid. This is an Aaron question for Chris. Snakes. Is it the rounder head or the more triangular head that we're looking for?
Yeah, the triangular head is a definite giveaway of a venomous snake. Now, what I've seen in the past, sometimes I've dealt with a variety of water snakes that actually have the ability to shapeshift and transform their head as part of their defense mechanism.
What?
To actually make themselves look more dangerous than what they really are.
So snake transformers is what you're trying to tell me.
Yes.
That is my idea of hell on earth.
Yes, and another thing is the odor. If it stinks, stay away from it. They have a really musky smell that they will emit, and it's very putrid to be around it for any period of time. So that's another dead giveaway that you're dealing with the real deal, and you need to go the other way.